you, and good afternoon, and welcome to the fourth event for our Pitch for Good series. You know, this month, obviously, we're focusing on data, analytics, and AI, which there's never been a more important topic and opportunity in our society. So we are so excited. And just give you a little bit of context, last spring when we were all in quarantine, our team got together and we decided that we needed to celebrate and showcase the entrepreneurial community, because the reality is we just wanted to bring a little light and a little fun and to showcase some of the great things that were happening that most people wouldn't have any idea about because we were all hunkered down. So with that, we created Pitch for Good, and our first one was in May, and this is our fourth, and we are so excited to be here. You know, these are obviously unprecedented times. But in some ways, I think it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur, and maybe call me that crazy entrepreneur. But I think, you know, entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And right now we've got a few challenges ahead of us. And so what a better time. And at the same time, you know, I think we often look and we wear our rose-colored glasses and we see things the way they should be. And then when times are great, it's sometimes hard to get customers or potential customers to do things a little bit differently. Whereas now people are more open. So in my limited little mind, I think it's a great time to be an entrepreneur, even though it's challenging, but it always is. So with that, I want to give a real quick shout out to the Nashville Technology Council, a true collaborative partner. Brian has been just amazing to work with, and it's a sister organization. And in my mind, it's a fine example of what makes Nashville so special, in that we really do work together, and we are working together to lift the entrepreneurial community and the tech community. So thank you to the Tech Council, and thank you for letting us be a part of your all's conference, which is also a really neat and awesome thing that you do. And we are just honored to be a part of it. And then it's also important that we thank our program sponsors, because, you know, when we called them back in May, and we've got this crazy idea that we want to actually do this showcase with amazing judges and amazing entrepreneurs, we had people actually say yes. And so I want to thank you to Dell for Entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial thinking there, the Kaufman Foundation in Launch, Tennessee. And we also want to thank our volunteers who spent time going through all the submissions and narrowing it down to 6. And I know that wasn't an easy task. And they were business and entrepreneurs in our community that volunteered their time to do that. So thank you. And then last but not least, I want to make sure we thank Hillary and Anthony and Brian and Daniel for dedicating your time and for helping making this just a fabulous show. So it takes a village, and we are so thrilled to have all of you in our village, and we hope to continue to grow and work together. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bryn. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Hi, everyone. I'm Bryn Plummer. I'm Vice President of Inclusion and Community Relations at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. I'm actually coming to you today from Michigan. I'm in rural Michigan, which is the beauty of this remote world that we're in. So if I'm a little paused or a little choppy, that could be why. Believe it or not, internet in the Upper Peninsula is not fantastic. But we've got Jeremy Rayleigh here on the line as well. And Jeremy is our producer extraordinaire for all of our virtual events at the EC. And so Jeremy will be here to tag in, but just a little apologies on the front end. I want to give you all a bit of housekeeping to get us started for all our participants on. And as Jeremy mentioned, I think we have over 120 participants on the call today. And of our 4 Pitch for Good events, we've had about 600 people in total join in on those events. So we are grateful to have all of you be so interested and fascinated and curious, inspired by the entrepreneurs here in our community. So this is a webinar, so you won't be able to talk, but you can participate by keeping things going in the chat. The chat is where the lifeblood of the event will happen. So in place of an actual physical event where we can clap and cheer on the teams, we encourage you to use the chat. Use the chat as your voice box during the next hour or so of this competition. This is being recorded in all its glory, so we can share it afterwards. We will not share the chat, but we will share the video recording. So we do have people's cameras off, so don't worry about having your camera on. And then lastly, I wanted to cover what an elevator pitch is. For anyone who doesn't know, we are going to see 6 elevator pitches today. And the idea of an elevator pitch is if you got into an elevator, you saw one of these judges or maybe another entrepreneur or investor who you wanted to share your idea with, but you had from that first floor to floor 20 to convince them to get on board with your idea. That's the idea of an elevator pitch. Let's say you have a minute to get in front of this person to get your point across. What do you do with that minute? And so we have 6 phenomenal minutes ahead of you from 6 companies that are burgeoning and becoming part of the ecosystem here in Tennessee. Before we get to those pitches, let's meet our judges. We have 4 judges today who represent some of the, I would say, most innovative, exciting, compelling, novel approaches to data analytics, information technology, and informatics and information that we have out there in the world. So first we've got Daniel Rumley, who is a sales development manager for Americas at Dell Partnerships, at Dell Technologies. We have a partnership with Dell. They've been with us for all of our Pitch for Good events. So Daniel, are you out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Afternoon.
Hello. Daniel, we're glad you're here. And then we've got Brian Fox, who is Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Thomson Reuters and President and founder of Confirmation.com. Brian, hello. Anything you'd like to say?
Hey, glad to be here and looking forward to the elevator pitches.
Yes. Glad you're here, Brian. Brian's a big part of the EC and has been part of the EC for a long while. So we're glad to see you. And then we've got Hillary Mason, who is a data scientist in residence at Excel Partners and keynote speaker at the Analytics Conference. And we're right here at the tail end of the Analytics Conference that's been going on for the past 2 days. Hillary, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. I know you've had, you said you were coming off that keynote, so excited to get some interaction with the judge, with the actual participants today. We're glad to have that opportunity with you. And then finally, we've got Anthony Agbuniwe, who is a data scientist and director of global partnerships at Microsoft. Anthony, how are you?
Hey guys, doing well. Really excited to be a part of this event and looking forward to seeing all the amazing entrepreneurs and hearing the pitch.
Welcome. All right, those are our 4 judges. Give it up for them in the chat. They're all giving their time to this. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons to be part of it as a judge. Some of the reasons can be your own deal flow. I think for a lot of us, we occupy these spaces where we're entrepreneurs. Maybe we have a full-time job in a larger enterprise. Some of us are angel investors or lay investors on the side. So everyone who is here because they saw some value in this, and we appreciate you spending your time with us to show that demonstration of value. All right, so let's get into these pitches. We've got some ground rules. Each entrepreneur has 1 minute to give their pitch. There'll be 2 minutes of Q&A with the judges, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. I have my stopwatch up, so I'm going to try to monitor that 2 minutes to the best that I can. I'm not going to let people go over, so I may have to cut someone off mid-sentence. Please forgive me, mea culpa on the front end. Alrighty, it's time to begin. Let's get our first one ready to go. We've got Michael Sentz of CaringWire. Michael Sentz, are you out there?
Yes, CaringWire. Can you hear me?
Yes, got you. All right,
clear.
CaringWire. Thank you, Michael. All right, Michael, take it away.
Have you heard of the caregiver crisis in the US? It's affecting over 50 million Americans and costing over $500 billion. If not, don't feel bad. I hadn't heard about it either. A personal story turned into CaringWire's founding purpose. I watched my mom struggle under the stress and burden of overseeing care for her aging parents. And like 15% of Americans, my mom took an early retirement as a result. It caused her to have poor health outcomes, as well as for my grandparents, the care recipients. This is why I started CaringWire, a digital care manager that assesses an individual's needs and makes personalized recommendations to connect with support, services, and technologies. Think about it like this. We embed ourselves in the decision-making process of caregivers to become the Google Maps for caregiving. We sell our SaaS software to businesses, including health plans and employee wellness programs. So vote for CaringWire today so we can enhance our user experience and create that yellow brick road for caregivers. Thank you.
Michael, thank you so much. CaringWire. I know that the caregiving crisis is huge, and particularly eldest daughters tend to be the most likely caregiver in families. And so there's a lot of us out there, and there's a lot, it affects intergenerations and people across all incomes and everything else. So let's get into it. Judges, you have 2 minutes to ask Michael questions. I'm going to start the clock. Feel free to take yourselves off mute and ask the questions directly to Michael yourself.
Sure, Michael. This is Brian Fox. Quick question for you. Is the product launched, and do you have customers and users at this point?
We launched it at the end of 2019, and we have just shy of 2,000 users and currently growing about 18% month over month.
And is that users, or what about paid users?
We have, that's total users, and we have a handful of paid users that are nonprofits and employers right now.
What's the, great pitch, Michael. Anthony Abunaway here. What's the total lifetime value of a customer on CaringWire?
That's a great question. And quite frankly, I'm a little too early to be assigning a value to that. In the models that we run, we're looking at a total lifetime value of about $450.
Thank you.
Michael, this is Hillary. I really love the mission, and I'm also aware that healthcare companies have a lot of mixed incentives and are a challenge to manage. So I'm curious how you think about what does winning look like for you in serving that mission? And then how are you thinking about the design of your business to support the mission and make sure that your own incentives remain uncorrupted?
Yeah, great question. And that's really hard in this marketplace. When I think of winning, it's a complete opposite of what Facebook and the popular social media apps. We essentially want to put ourselves out of business, right? We want to be so good that you don't have to use us because we solve your issue. But because we do that, you tell your entire family, you tell all your friends who are going through the same situation. And we see the most value coming from people that have a financial incentive to care for these folks. So the health plans that have a massive audience, this is a recurring issue within hundreds of millions of people. So even though we want to put ourselves out of business, the need is ever forming. So I think there's an opportunity for a multi-generational business here.
Can I ask a quick follow-up, which is in your work so far with your customers, do you have any stories or anecdotes you can share about how your solution has really provided care that just wasn't otherwise happening or wasn't possible?
I do. We also have a few YouTube videos about customer testimonials, so I'd be happy to follow up with that. But a prime example is a lady, Deneen, and I know I'm running out of time, so I'll make this short. She's caring for her mom and caring for her special needs son. And she was just in this grind. She's the full-time police officer, so she's pulled 1,000 different directions. She found CaringWire at an Alzheimer's support group, got on, immediately connected with respite services that delivered care in the home, and then continued to use it as her mom transitioned from in-home to out-of-home. And she said that she was going absolutely nutty and like pulling her hair out, or was falling out because of the stress and burden, and that CaringWire allowed her to see around those corners and make decisions from an informed standpoint.
Powerful story. Thank you, Michael. Michael Sentz of CaringWire. Huge opportunity there. Huge opportunity, of course, as the boomer generation continues to grow in age. Up next, we've got Dan Burger of Filtergraph. Dan, are you on? Dan Burger.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready.
There you are. I love your background. Dan, take it away.
All right, so Filtergraph is a web-based platform for visualizing complex multidimensional data using a simple, easy-to-use interface. Anyone can go online to filtergraph.com, upload some data, and get back an interactive visualization portal just like this one. You can build scatter plots, histograms, tables, world maps, and much more. And the graph is interactive. So if you change settings on the left-hand side of the screen, It'll select the graph on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can click and drag to zoom or get more information about a particular point. Filtergraph has over 1,000 users around the world. Many of them work at NASA, and they needed a way to build scatter plots out of millions of rows of data. And Filtergraph is custom built for that purpose. And with the click of a mouse, you can get an easy to share link. And not only are they seeing what you're seeing, but it's within the portal itself. So it's designed for a collaboration. And Filtergraph is free to use at filtergraph.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, longtime friend of the EC, Dan Burger. Dan, you've got 2 minutes for questions from the judges. Judges, you did it perfectly last time. You've got it this time.
Awesome, Dan. Great job and congratulations. I'm interested, are you guys using any satellite imagery for the graph? For the mapping?
So for the world map behind me, we're getting it from an open source data set, but we don't have a satellite view of this. But we do get lots of data from NASA.
Awesome.
Hey, Dan, this is Brian. Great pitch and appreciate it. Very interesting. So I think you said that the users can just log on and use Filtergraph for free. So what's the revenue model?
So we have a partnership with the NASA Exoplanet Archive, and they wanted a custom built version of Filtergraph for their purposes. They needed some specific features, and so the NASA Exoplanet Archive has a data set of every planet that has been discovered so far, and now we're up to thousands of planets orbiting other stars. So it's exciting that I get to work with them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead, Hillary. I apologize. The question I was going to ask, are those data sets refreshed on a daily, weekly? How are you guys pulling that data from NASA, and how quickly are they refreshing the information?
So in many cases, so for the NASA Exoplanet Archive, we pull the data every day from them, and there's a feature for if we needed to pull the data every day from a specific URL. We have a data set, for instance, of the top 1 million websites in the world, and it's interesting to see how they move around.
All right, that is time. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan Burger.
Thank you.
Filtergraph. I'm glad to have you, Dan. Next, we have Amanda Latifi of Hafta. Amanda, are you out there in the internet?
I'm here.
She's here. Wonderful. Look at that background. Wow, y'all are killing it today. I feel like I need to step up my background game. All right, Amanda, it's all you.
Thank you very much. I'm actually setting a timer as well. Hi, everybody. So just quickly, if you'll raise your hand if you've ever been shopping in a store. And now if you raise your hand if you've ever walked out of a store and not made a purchase. Congratulations, we all represent the missing data set in retail. So pre-COVID, 90% of shoppers, the 90% of conversions were happening in store, but retailers only convert on about 15 to 30% of their foot traffic. That means 70% of their shoppers are walking out of the store without buying something. The retailer doesn't know who they are, what they wanted to buy, or how to bring them back. Now, what shoppers do to save items in store is they take pictures of products or take pictures of price tags. And we've leveraged that behavior to help grasp that missing data set. What Hafta does is through signage, shoppers can take a picture of a price tag in store, just like they already are. They text it to a short code they're operating for the retailer. We capture the information, add it to a list for the shopper, and text them when that exact item goes on sale. Now that we've captured that data in store, we pipe it all to our dashboard for the retailer. Through automation and AI, we can create real-time offers in store to drive conversion. Now, what we're doing for good is we've really stepped up to help SMBs that are suffering in this market. We help drive conversions and convert in store so they don't miss any conversions. And we're helping keep some of the smaller brick and mortar stores in business. A minute goes fast.
It goes so fast, but you squeezed in so much, and I love how you share about the pivot and how this is affecting the small minority business ecosystem, because that is huge. It is huge in this area. All right, 2 minutes for questions from our judges. And Hillary, I know I cut you off. You had a question for Dan, so feel free to start so you get your time in.
No worries. So this is pretty cool. How do you change people's behavior? So I know that, at least, and using ourselves as examples is terrible, but right, I have a habit of taking that picture. How do you get me to do it through your system versus the tools I'm already using?
Yep, so we're not an app, so there's nothing to download. We really strive to reduce the barriers in store. So it's just texting to a short code. We've also implemented some QR codes to help automate both the opt-in message and the phone number. So that's helped really reduce barriers as well. Also, the benefit that a shopper is getting is really what kind of drives that interaction and behavior. So a lot of times the communication in store or communications from sale associates can be promotional driven. So like, hey, if you found something in store and you liked it and want to think about it, take a picture of a tag and text it. You might unlock an exclusive offer. And then through automation and product-specific communication, we can help that retailer even just offer 10% off to drive that conversion so they don't lose that sale.
So this, Brian, great pitch, very interesting. So do the retailers send an automatic discount, or are you tracking with GPS so that you can see if somebody's left the store and try and pull them back in? Because what's to stop a shopper from just clicking on the things and waiting for a discount and kind of gaming?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So what we're doing through the automation is we have a dashboard that allows the retailers to set up any type of parameters that says, if anyone interacts with this category, even this specific product or anything in my store, tell them this. It can be promotional. It could be free gift with purchase. They can set up triggers to where if the communication is delivered real time or lapse, so they could send a message to you in 2 weeks. The other thing is, since we are tracking the products that someone shopped in store, we really create an omni-channel success for the retailer in the sense that when that exact item you were looking at goes on sale from the store, we send you a text message to drive you back to convert on e-com. So we're really trying to drive that conversion back to the retailer of origin, because offline is suffering right now. Brick and mortars, especially SMBs, need to convert on every piece or every foot traffic they have, all their footfall. To them, it doesn't matter if it happens in store or on e-com, and that's really where we can help.
Great.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and this is Anthony. Amanda, I think online to offline retail O2O is going to be tremendous, and to be able to capture that data in a way that you can communicate with the customers is interesting. So are the retailers your customers, or are the customers, first party customers, your customers? Who's your customer?
Yeah, so our customer is B2B. We're B2B SaaS. That being said, we do operate slightly as a hybrid. So we put together a playbook because we want our retailers to succeed, but our customers and clients are the retailers. We've been focused on enterprise level. We just finished New York Fashion Tech Lab. We were 2020 cohort. We're supposed to actually be in POC with Macy's and Levi's and Kohl's right now, but I don't know if you know, retail's going through some things. So we focused on SMBs for kind of this back quarter and some partnerships that we're working on through Shopify, because they're really focused on POS placement offline for their growth strategy as well.
All right, Amanda, super cool. Congrats on finishing that accelerator, by the way. I know it was really prestigious to get in, and so congratulations on getting in and then completing.
Thanks.
All right. Up next, we're also, these go so quickly. We are already halfway through our pitches. So I'm gonna take a second and absorb all this wisdom and brilliance that has happened in the first half. Up next, we've got David Tinsley of Project Maslow. David, are you out there?
I'm out here. Can you hear me?
You are heard. Yes, yes. Love those glasses. All right. David, the time is yours.
Okay. So did you know there are over 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in the United States, but they don't work together, so people aren't directed to the services they need when they visit a nonprofit. And as a result, services often go underutilized by the people who really need them. And did you know most nonprofits can't tell if their efforts are having a positive impact? Project Maslow is aligning the nonprofit network to work together as a team. So whether you're a homeless mother who needs shelter tonight or a business professional pursuing data science and need to get connected, we're building a platform for you. Project Maslow is developing LifeMap, a data-driven interactive tool that will give clients directions to get to where they need to be in life. We're sharing aggregated client information with nonprofits and educational research institutions to help nonprofits be more impactful. Our mission is to connect people, resources, and communities to create endless opportunity. If chosen, we'll use funding for applications, equipment, and marketing.
All right, thank you, David. As nonprofit people and long time in the nonprofit world, that sounds hugely helpful. David, you've got 2 minutes for questions from our judges. Judges, you may begin.
Hey, David, this is Dan.
I did.
Hey, so on when you talk about connecting the person in need to the services, which route are you approaching it from? Are you going to the services and helping map it out, kind of like the early days of the internet and finding everyone that provides help and services and then kind of cataloging it and then providing it? Or are you going out and saying, what does the community need, right? What services are people looking for? Right. And then we try to build it from there.
Right, so we're actually taking, and I'm gonna try to keep this as, it's short time, so I gotta keep this as concise as I can. We're taking a three-pronged approach. So we're putting the information capture and the connectivity in the hands of the user. So the person seeking any kind of connection, support, whatever that they're looking for. The whole thing is based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So what it's directing them to is based on what their current need is. If they're homeless, that's the first thing we address. If they're a data scientist looking for work, it's going to connect them to local groups and point them in those directions. For the nonprofit, we're going to scrape all the nonprofit data that's out there and classify them as services. So the NTC would be included in that. The EC would be included in that. It would include, the mission. So it includes everybody. We're going to put them all in there. And so we will direct people to the services that match up to them. We're also going to give them a basic level of training because everybody needs a little bit more training in some areas. And then the third prong of that is we're only capturing aggregated data. The personal data stays with the person. It never touches us. We only ever get the aggregated data. And the aggregated data is made available to local research facilities, colleges. For instance, the MTSU Data Science Institute is already working with us. They'll be looking at that and applying data science to it and applying analytics to it to try to clean it up and give the best predictions and the best recommendations to people as we help them grow. But the purpose is the person holding the app, all they ever see is that they get to log in, put in some basic statistics, and some basic demographics, and then they say, here's where I want to go. I want to be a dentist, and today I'm homeless. So it's going to direct them to the mission, then it's going to direct them through training, and then it's going to direct them through an education system and point them in the direction of the groups they need to connect to.
So David, how are you cataloging all of these different entities and the resources that they provide? It seems like a massive undertaking.
It is a big undertaking. It is a big undertaking. So my regular job, I actually work for a very large nonprofit here in town. So I'm very familiar with how difficult some of this is. I also know how much it normally costs. We are a 501c3, so we've set up our entire model to be as close to free for the nonprofit as possible. They're the only ones that pay for anything. So we put it at a very low amount, but when they become members, they can come in and correct any data that we've put in. And at the price that we're offering, I assume we will have churches that would like to know who their congregation is. We will have nonprofits such as food banks that would like to know who showed up. At the moment, that would be impossible to capture that data. But in the scenario that we're looking at, since I'm capturing it as a transaction, I can tell you a year from now what happened to the person that came and got food today. So we will have some, it will be a little dirtier in the beginning than it is as time goes on. is probably the best way to answer that, but we're going to classify them as types of services.
Thank you.
All right, that is your time for questions, David. David, thank you. Up next, we've got Ravi Amble of Sakino. Yes?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard, hey, Bryn, question mark? I heard, thanks, Bryn, period. Okay, got it. Bye, David. Okay, we've got Ravi Amble of Sakino up next. Ravi,
good afternoon,
are you ready for your pitch?
Sakino.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
All
Sakino
right.
in Sanskrit means joy, free of suffering. The global population is aging and needs affordable diagnostic healthcare access on demand. Long-term care and aging in place requires new systems to make holistic diagnostic level care possible. The current healthcare system places the burdens of cost and time on providers to deliver quality care. Insurance and medical payment systems have not traditionally covered the high cost of these systems in order to make them available to everyone. Sakino's Saffron, powered by its MLAI engine Ginger, is an integrable, vendor-neutral, diagnostic-level telehealth platform focused on long-term care for chronic disease management, transitions of care, and acute care. Saffron provides the ability to perform remote physical examinations at a diagnostic level in real time. Ginger provides for behavioral extraction and sentiment analysis to measure and enhance personalized care to each individual at an affordable cost. Saffron, powered by Ginger, can be extended to all areas of holistic healthcare delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi of Sakino. Let's give you 2 minutes for your judges, starting the clock. All right, questions may begin now.
Can you very quickly walk us through what a patient experience is like and how this works?
Surely, please. If you take a telehealth scenario here, the primary care physician is able to, let's look at a patient, or I'll just reverse it to a primary care physician, would be able to look at a patient with a caregiver in window 1 on their laptop or desktop or tablet. Window 2, they're able to observe all the vitals being measured at diagnostic level. Window 3, they can bring in a specialist doctor or subspecialty on demand for second opinion. Window 4, they can bring in a family member or a friend. Everything is based on HIPAA and privileges and access rights. And from the Ginger standpoint, as a quick example, if you were to take, we were running intelligence at the systems level, workflow delivery level, and medical delivery level. So as an example, you can shoot a transaction into the cloud, bring up mapping use cases for best practices in terms of composite mapping, in terms of what was the prognosis, diagnosis, procedure, treatment, post-treatment done on a similar case. Right from information on who are the physicians or the clinicians to what types of procedures, what types of medications were administered, what were the outcomes, what were the side effects.
Thank you.
Sure.
So it sounds like you've launched at this point. Is that correct? And if so, how is the usage going?
We are signed up 11 pilots right now. We haven't started the pilots yet, but the first rollout is this month, matter of fact, going into the first week in October. So basically we are selling, this is a B2B2C and a sell. So the facilities are buying our services and they're connecting their providers to their residents.
And what's your background? How did you get into this?
I've been in telemedicine for the last 15 years, with NASA being my springboard. I've had the experience of building perhaps the 2 largest telemedicine networks in the world. Connecting the NASA led us to India. We connected 400 district hospitals with 200 village resource centers, connecting to 50 specialty hospitals that provided connectivity to millions of impoverished and unreached citizens of India. And everything started from an algorithm that we developed and came under a clinical trial with the Medical Innovation Technology Program of NASA that's run out of the Commonwealth University of Virginia. where the clinical trial was very successful, and anesthesiologist was able to connect into a mobile surgical unit in Ecuador, where a person was undergoing a gallbladder operation and was able to save the life of that person because she was able to view a 3-lead ECG and blood pressure remotely through SATCOM.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Ravi of Sakino. Thank you so much, Ravi. And now we are on to our last pitch of this very fast pitch for good. We've got Mak Abdelaal of Velos Labs. Mak, are you out there?
Yeah, can you hear me and see me yet?
Yeah, we can hear and see you. Perfect. All right, Mak, your minute begins as soon as you start.
All right. Hi, I'm Mak Abdelaal, co-founder of Velos Labs. Driving is stressful and high stakes. Driving in combat zones has all the dangers we endure every day on roads around here, but it adds the danger to it of potential attack, which is something I've experienced serving in Iraq as U.S. Marine. Autonomous vehicle technology is expected to reduce these hazards, even for the military deployed in harm's way. But currently, the only way to possess this technology is to buy a brand new vehicle, which is a problem because the Army can't go out tomorrow and buy 200,000 new vehicles. 53% of the Army's vehicles are Humvees, and this is expected to be the case through 2040. This is the gap that we're attempting to exploit with our technology. The military autonomous vehicle market is expected to have incremental growth reaching $450 million by 2022. Velos Labs has responded by creating an autonomy kit that will give self-driving functionality to the Humvees that the Army already owns. With these advances, our system will save lives and taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mak. Thank you, Mak. Mak just graduated from pre-flight with his wife, Amber, who was his co-founder. All right, let's hear your, yay, Amber. Let's hear your questions and answers for Mak. I'm gonna start.
Mak, that's a great mission to take on, and I appreciate your service and your focus, honestly.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And so the question really comes to government contracting. Do you guys have any currently? Are you guys in the works of landing any at the moment? And a second notion to that, if not, are you working with or through any system integrators today?
So I guess we are currently not doing any business with the government. However, we set up all of our stops to do business with the government. So we have all of our system awards for management, registration. So long story short, we can cash a check from the Department of Defense today, and we can obtain sensitive information from the government. However, we're still in the prototype phase of our vehicle development or our kit development. So we don't currently have any customers. One of the things that we're looking at to bridge the gap between now and contract award is looking into SBIR, the Small Business Innovation Research. That helps us protect a little bit of our, sandbox or pieces of sandbox. That way, we don't necessarily have to give away the farm right away. And traditionally, what happens at the end of those SBIR contracts is a contract for more work that is specifically allocated to the small business. Typically, sometimes you can partner with a big systems integrator like a Lockheed for phase 3. But so we're a couple phases away from that, but that's essentially where we're at today.
Second question, add on to that. How are you looking at compute at the edge?
Well, so we're looking at essentially most of our stack is dependent on NVIDIA. So we're looking at leveraging, the Jetson, Jetson platforms, and also we'll be hopefully graduating the NVIDIA Drive depending on the needs. So we're really dependent on CUDA and NVIDIA's offerings right now.
Hey, Mak, do you have any commercial applicability outside of this particular military use case that maybe could sell to quicker and sooner than selling to the military? Maybe get some use cases going.
Absolutely. So the obviously the military use case resonates with us most, but we've identified police and Leo as, law enforcement, first responders, there's an application there. And something we would love to be able to do is source some of the same technology to give to modernizing farm equipment. So if we can, sell a piece or a portion of our kit to basically automate some of the farming equipment, and that would be something that would feel really good to be able to do. So yeah, we're looking at those types of applications, but where we're at right now, we kind of are eyeballing our main customer, which is DoD. But after we get our prototype made, I think we're going to be leveraging first responders, something like forestry service, anybody that's going to have similar overlapping mission sets.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mark, this is Dan. As a question, do you have, let's see, how should I phrase this? So is your unique offering the stack that allows you to modify existing machines, existing Humvees, existing heavy machines, or are you standing up an autonomous solution from the ground up? Like, are you borrowing and piggybacking on other companies' actions?
Right. So yeah, we'll be leveraging commercial off-the-shelf technology. So all of the sensors, all of the computers are in existence today, and we'll be integrating those systems into a system that will allow you to use or make an existing Humvee self-driving, or an existing Chevy truck, or any whatever type of vehicle. So one of the things we're looking at is using this on the Humvee initially, but our goal is to be system and vehicle agnostic. So that way we can operate in more of the Army's arsenal. But yeah, so we're taking existing vehicles and giving them self-driving technology using commercial off-the-shelf parts and sensors and computers. And what we bring is the systems integration and the software and the deep learning models and functionality.
All right, thank you to Velos Labs. And let's give it up for all 6 companies that pitched today. Michael Sentz of CaringWire, Dan Burger of Filtergraph, Amanda Latifi of Hafta, David Tinsley of Project Maslow, Ravi Ambel of Sakino, and finally, Abdelaal of Velos Labs. Thank you to all 6 of you. And at this time, I'm going to ask the judges to submit their scores. Judges will get to submit scores, and then you will also get to select a winner. So we have an audience favorite that we do at each Pitch for Good, because there's power in the crowd and democracy. That's a great thing to celebrate in these times as we run up to an election. You get to choose someone who is your favorite pitcher today or company. You can choose them right now on the poll that's been sent to your screen. You should have a poll that's popped right up in Zoom to choose your favorite. And as you know, we are giving away cash prizes today, and then our audience favorite will receive a scholarship of $1,500 that will be awarded to them to extend to any support from the Entrepreneur Center that they would like, which is a huge opportunity, especially if you're looking for a space to come work that isn't your dining room table, or if you're looking for a home away from home as your office here at the EC. All right. As the judges do that, I want to make sure too that I'm highlighting a couple of the folks who've helped bring this event to here on your screen, and also made our cash awards to these entrepreneurs, our cash grants, possible. The first is Dell for Entrepreneurs. So Jeremy, I believe we've got a video from Dell, if you want to go ahead and start that.
I got what you want, I got it. I got what you need, I got it. Welcome to the show. Get ready for the major leagues. Now I'm finally.
All right, everyone at the EC just got a new Dell computer. We've never had staff-wide computers before. So we all just got Dell computers, and most of us are Mac users who were switching to a PC. And I can't tell you how groundbreaking it's been for so many of us to use different parts of the Microsoft suite and the Dell suite in different ways, but also to have support from Dell directly as we're figuring this out, and growing our infrastructure as a scaling organization ourselves has been hugely valuable. So thank you to Dell. And that's one of the new products that is out there that you can demo and get on board with. Yeah, but I can't say enough good things about Dell. And I think part of why we highlight sponsors too and our partners, not just because they help us bring these events to bear, but we know, we're all consumers. We're not just producers and creators, we're also consumers. And sometimes one of the things that weighs on me when I make a decision is, who else does this person support? So these companies, Dell for Entrepreneurs, and then coming up the Kauffman Foundation, they are, if you want to think about where your money goes or what you patronize or how you spend your time and energy, these are organizations that also spend their time, energy, and money on entrepreneurs. So that matters a lot in this world where every dollar matters and how we spend our money matters. So the second one we want to highlight is the Kauffman Foundation, the Hugh and Marion Kauffman Foundation. If you've never heard of them, they are an organization to really get behind. They actually are in the process of launching their eShip Summit, which is their entrepreneurship summit that happens annually, and it's all virtual this year. They have been a supporter of the EC for at least 4 years now, and they helped bring Pitch for Good here to you all and to be in front of you. They are the leading voice on entrepreneurship in the Midwest and kind of off the coasts. So I highly encourage you to check out their research, their white papers. They are a very valuable voice in entrepreneurship, particularly as it pertains to leveling the playing field, which is a huge part of the EC's vision and mission. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking in with Jeremy here to see how we're doing on judges. Okay,
Hello.
it looks
so
like
we
we're getting the judges
just,
score.
finalizing some of the tallying, and if you're in the audience, we only have about 70% of the votes, so please get that done. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen just for a second so that whenever we do get the awards, we can announce them properly. In the meantime, Bryn, can you just go one round with the panels or with our judges? And just to learn a little bit more
I actually want to
them.
suggest that. Yes, I was going to suggest the same, because before you all hopped on, we got to meet some of the judges, and I've known, it's different reading someone's bio versus seeing someone tell their story. And so this is a phenomenal array of judges. So I would just want to go one by one with our judges just to say a little bit about your story and entrepreneurship and anything that's been going on in your life, what's been on your mind. So I'll start with Brian Fox. So Brian, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about you and maybe potentially how you've been involved with the Entrepreneur Center?
Sure. Thank you, Brendan and Jeremy and the team and Jane for letting me participate today. So background, I'm a Nashville native. Grew up here, both sides of my family are here. So I love Nashville and love our city. CPA by background. I worked for Ernst & Young in audit, PwC, and mergers and acquisitions. And then came back home to go to Vandy for business school and wrote the business plan for confirmation.com 20 years ago. Grew that from truly my grandmother's garage to operating in 174 countries with offices in 15, and sold my business last summer to Thomson Reuters. And so now I'm currently the head of strategic partnerships globally for the tax and accounting group for Thomson Reuters, and also an angel investor. So it's been a lot of fun. So I've invested in 2 businesses that have come out of the EC just in the last 6 months. One from the Pitch for Good, the women entrepreneurs, just recently.
That's exciting, Des. We have this emerging philosophy that sounds really obvious to someone like you who's lived it, but this emerging philosophy on entrepreneurship is the cycle of have an idea, grow your business, build your business, scale your business, sell your business if you'd like, and then come back into the ecosystem to fuel that next wave. And I feel like you are the embodiment of that. And we so appreciate you investing in these ideas that are getting up and running. We couldn't exist without entrepreneurs, without investors and entrepreneurial ideas. So thank you so much. Hillary, are you out there? Hillary, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi. So as I shared earlier, I'm a recovered academic. I started my career as a computer science professor working in machine learning a long, long time ago. But it turns out I actually like to build things too. And so I've been starting companies and projects for most of the last 15 years. The most recent one was called Fast Forward Labs, and I sold it to Cloudera in 2017 and then ran their data science and machine learning business for a couple of years. And I actually just started a new company as well. So I'm full of empathy for all of the entrepreneurs who shared today, because I'm right there with you, building something new.
You're in it, like it just doesn't stop. Thank you so much for being on, Hillary. I know you had a big 2 days, so we're grateful that you're here. And then if we could get Daniel, and then I'll go to Anthony. Daniel, you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Hey, yeah, I'm Dan Rumley. I'm the Sales Development Manager for OEM Americas. Really, we kind of do a couple of things that apply to this world. One, I work a lot with Dell for entrepreneurs. A lot of our solutions come out of startups, come out of great ideas that the next generation is coming up with. And really what we do where I live is I help companies figure out what technology they might need to be able to go to market, what widgets they need to make run their actual solutions and sell to the customers. And just as an interesting point, I did serve 6 years in one of those Humvees in a recon platoon. So yeah, I'd love to see them be safer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just working with Velos too. I think between the two of them, just getting to know them, I think they have something like 30 years experience in engineering between the two of them. And so the fact that they are applying that to this, and they can do anything and they're applying it to this, I think speaks to what a necessary evolution is. It's what a necessary evolution in military technology and military vehicles that is needed. So glad you're here, Daniel. And then lastly, we've got Anthony out there, Anthony Agbuniwe, who is with us from Microsoft. Anthony, you want to tell us about yourself?
For sure, and thank you guys for inviting me. Anthony Agbuniwe, partner director for public safety and for public sector and education at Microsoft, actually. So working with guys like Brian and Daniel to create joint solutions to go to market leveraged on the Azure cloud and the Microsoft cloud as a whole. Been focused on really supporting the entrepreneur ecosystem for the past 8 years. I started a nonprofit focused on inner city students and inner city kids, primarily Generation Z, to get them to team together and build companies primarily focused on video games in the mobile app store to learn how to really engage into the entrepreneurial world. My background is sports as well. So came from Georgia Tech, where I was a football player there, and just bringing that mentality of teaming and sports into the corporate world. So looking forward to continued partnership with this entity and the rest of the partnership ecosystem.
That's so cool. I didn't know about your nonprofit, the nonprofit that you had done before. Like, I think studies have shown that Gen Z will be likely the most entrepreneurial generation of the past 100 years, at least in the US. So it makes total sense to partner together to support that generation as they're getting going. So glad you're here, Anthony. And we think this is the beginning of as you were talking, Jeremy and I were messaging each other like, wait, we need to talk to Anthony about how to get more programs for youth up and running. So we will definitely be talking to you more as the time goes by.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thank you to our judges again. Yes, I have all 4 of our judges. Tremendous expertise among the 4 of them, and we're really glad to have you. It is time to announce our winners. Let's do this. All right, got them from Jeremy. Jeremy, which direction should I go? Oh, okay, I'll go this way. Our first winner number 1 is Hafta. Amanda Latifi of Hafta. Congratulations. She's in the B2B2C space. Congratulations to you, Amanda. And Amanda, I also really look up to Amanda tremendously because she's also gone through pre-flight and this accelerator while taking care of her new baby. I think your baby is, 8 months old now? So you are living this world that we're all in of being a parent and an entrepreneur and making it work. And so we are just so proud of you, Amanda. Congratulations. And then our second winner is Velos Labs, Mock and Amber Abdelaal. Congratulations to Mock and Amber of Velos Labs. Each of those companies will receive a $2,000 grant that will go directly to them to help them grow their business. Congratulations to you both. And our audience favorite, who will win a $1,500 scholarship to the EC for the services of their choice, is CaringWire. Michael Sentz of CaringWire. Way to go, Michael. Congratulations to those 3 companies. Truly, it was a toss-up today because all 6 companies were tremendously impressive and doing things in such different ways, and really shows the novel applications of AI and machine learning. It's going to impact so many parts of our lives. And I'm really glad that we could see all 3 of these. As we close out, just want to thank everyone again for being part of this, whether you were an attendee, a panelist, Brian Moyer, I just saw in the chat, a partner, whether you were on here for the first time getting to know the EC, or whether you've been at all 4 Pitch for Goods, thank you so much. We do have 2 upcoming public pitch events next month that I just want to shout out. The first of which is the next in our series of Pitch for Goods. We have Pitch for Good Music and Entertainment happening on October 22nd. We're super excited about that. As you know, it's Music City, and I used to go to probably a concert every other week here in Nashville. I'm sure many of you were in that same boat, and that is no longer the case, the way that we do things in the world. So a lot of opportunity to innovate and make better the hurting world of music and the growing world of entertainment. As we know, content is king right now. So that's going to be on October 22nd. The day after that, we have an exciting event that we are partnering with Mitsubishi Motors North America on. Mitsubishi Motors North America is opening its North American headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee, which is thrilling and exciting to us to have such an innovative company in our backyard. And this contest is open to all small businesses and startups in 13 surrounding counties of Davidson County. It is called the Small Batch Big Ideas Pitch Competition. So we're looking for things that really emphasize craftsmanship, creativity, innovation, small and scrappy. That is sort of the brand alignment that Mitsubishi is looking for. And they want it all. Like if you have a dope cookie company, they want to see it. If you make handmade bespoke suits, they want to get to know you. They will be really excited to learn about you all. We will be choosing 10 finalists that will showcase on October 23rd. And then 5 will go on to be part of a year-long small batch big ideas network where they will get to work closely with Mitsubishi Motors North America to develop their idea. The big winner also will get a 6-month lease of the new Mitsubishi Eclipse provided to them by Mitsubishi, which that was my dream car when I was first getting my license. And when I heard there was a new one coming out, I was like, I'm ready to do this. Let's do it all over again. Let's make this the dream car again. So we're so thrilled for that. Applications close October 11th. A minute pitch video.
I'm going to jump in really quickly and get a photo of everyone with judges. And so we have a teammate queued up. So I'm going to say on the count of 3, just get in position and just give us a smile, and I'm gonna have us hold it for just 1 or 2 seconds, just so also all the attendees can see how beautiful everyone's smile is and how happy of a day it is. So on the count of 3, just give a smile. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Cool. Thank you so much. I'll kick it back over to Bryn to close this out. Good job, everybody.
Great job, everyone. Congratulations again. Thank you again to our judges. As a reminder, the Nashville Entrepreneur Center is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, meaning every single dollar counts and every single hour volunteered to judge, mentor, advise, teach is so deeply valued. Thank you so much to everyone who's a supporter of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, and congratulations to all of our entrepreneurs who are staying at it day in and day out. We celebrate you, we appreciate you, and we really look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Great job.
Thank you.